Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Fatman coming to you again from Paradise. This is a little bit different from what I've done before, and I hope you understand. If you saw the interview that I did a couple weeks back, it was from one other YouTuber. I can't remember his name right now, but I talked about an idea I had. I called them the laws of narration, and they're basically a new line of philosophy that I've been toying with for the past couple of years. It's personally my idea. I find it kind of weird that no one else thought of this. For years I didn't think it was weird. And then I found out that I was weird. Laws of narration are based on the way I view the world. I am strange, apparently. I view the world through a narrative structure. Best way to describe it is that our life, every experience you have had, is a story. Every story that you've had becomes your narrative, your full narrative, your life. And each person's narrative becomes their micro-narrative, their microcosm of their narrative. That is their life. And their microcosm narratives interact with other people's microcosm narratives. Think of them like glass spheres, but that are not tangible. They are able to interact with each other's stories at different points all throughout their entire existence. And it's not just sideways up, it's also up and down. Because you interact with people's stories that you've never met, will never meet, because they're long dead. And your story interacts with other people's stories that you'll never meet because they haven't been born yet. I didn't learn how to read until I was in the 5th grade. I know, wow, I was a late reader. Mainly because, no one could tell me what to do. I'm an opposite little bugger. Still am. And so I didn't want to learn how to read. I didn't see a point to it. Stupid. But I would trick people into telling me the stories of what they were reading. Did that to my father a number of times, and to my brother. Got sick of me asking. Threw me the book and said, "You read it yourself." He doesn't know what a good thing he did for my entire life. It changed the course of my life. Up until then, I was basically illiterate. There's only one other thing in books that I was relatively curious in, and that was origami. And if you don't know what that is making sculptures out of pieces of paper through folds and pressure. It's one of my hobbies. I love doing it still every once in a while. My greatest achievement was a full Camelot castle that was like 8 inches tall and 10 inches wide. It was really nice. It broke, of course. It was made out of paper. But yeah, it was made me understand art in a whole new way. But it also let me understand stories. Because stories are just as fragile. They will break. Yeah, especially if they're forgotten. And that's the reason why I personally find the idea of monuments and plaques towards different people's accomplishments, even if they were not very good people, even if they were horrible. Auschwitz, for an example, should stay. Why? Because they tell a story. And the story tells us what happened. And paraphrase, if you know where you've been, it's easy to know where you're going. So, that's a basic idea how I view the world. But this also leads up to a strange understanding. Have you ever read a book or watched a TV show or a movie, or even play a D&D tabletop RPG campaign or anything like that, and you suddenly knew what was going to happen next? Your intuition told you. That was your narrative picking up on the meta-narrative around you. Because there are patterns throughout all of our narratives. And these narratives are consistent. Their patterns in the narrative are consistent. They will not go away. They are always there. But they also continuously interact with each other, and they are, well, at first look, chaotic. But in truth, honestly, I don't believe in chaos. I believe in, and so I looked at this and went, how does this make sense? And I slowly formed an idea that we're all just characters in a story being read, maybe by future persons or people in the future, maybe people in the past, people in the past, or space aliens that, you know, are staring at our bones and suddenly seeing what we're done with our lives, or looking at our magic bricks and finding videos like this one. Hello, space aliens. Please do not probe my skeleton. I really don't want that. Jokes aside, that's where the laws of narration come from. Because it's not that you have to follow them, it's that you will follow them. It's our nature. And understanding the laws allows you to understand other people's stories. And that's what this video basically is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a brief overview of the laws of narration. So the first section comes up next. But be warned, these rules, the rules that govern the laws and vice versa, are tricky and will backfire on you if you do not use appropriate caution when you're trying to apply them. And they will, and it will take years to understand them if you are cautious and don't overstretch yourself. But they are extremely informative on what another person's behavior is, especially those who that seem to be irrational towards you. It allows empathy in ways that are, well, especially for those who you have absolutely nothing in common with. So, next, part number one. Part number one, the 3 laws of narration. The first law, the rebellious blade. That which comes from perfect order is rebellion. Why do I say this? Well, look at history. Anytime a person or a group is repressed for any length of time, even if it's just perceived repression, point in fact, look at today. I'm currently recording this on July 1st, 2020. We've been dealing with riots across the United States from a narrative of excessive police violence towards people of African descent. This, whether or not that narrative is true, does not matter, is that people see that narrative and they believe that narrative. And this is why you can use these laws to manipulate other people's stories. But it also allows you to understand when someone else is going to manipulate you. When you are in these situations, you understand you are primed for manipulation, for other people to take control of your story instead of you controlling your own. That's the main reason why I'm putting this out. I want other people to control their own stories for the most part. Because even though there are times when you won't be able to, times when you can, I want to put it in your hands as much as possible. Alright. The law of the rebellious blade. There is a rule that governs it. Well, I'll get to that in that section. Honestly, that's gonna be a long one. That's gonna be a separate video. So that's next. Going to part 2. The hypocrite's mirror. Hypocrite's mirror is The hardest one is the spoke, which what the other two spin around. If you do not look at this one and do not pay attention to this one in every circumstance, you will hurt people. You will just end up destroying lives and hurting others, especially in times when you find yourself to be primed for manipulation. The law of the hypocrite. It's called Sargon's law. Those who accuse others of misdeeds are usually guilty of them themselves. I.e., when you call someone a racist, you are usually the racist. Yes, I'm not that nice. Never have been, never will be. But again, that's going to be explained in that section. But this is in all situations. Though the opposition in your story will accuse you of their misdeeds for two reasons. One, it discredits you. And two, it puts them on a pedestal. Of course, there is a way around this. But again, I will explain that in section 2, Hypocrite's Mirror. Section 3, the mantle of the villain. To save the world, is it worth giving up your soul? What would you do to save everyone? This is the one that's the trickiest and the most dangerous. And it also depends heavily upon the hypocrite's mirror and the rebellious way. They're all intertwined, like ever intersecting circles on a circular path back and forth, because they are in a superposition compared to each other. The mantle of the villain is best illustrated in a Japanese anime known as Code Geass, the Lelouch of the Rebellion. I'll explain that in that section, in that video. Mantle of the villain. The laws of narration will allow you to understand different parts of your story and how other people will try to control your story. There's no end if or buts. They will try, especially those you care about. Why? Because they want the best for you. Yeah, remember the ancient phrase, the road to hell is paved in good intentions. They will manipulate you because they think you're going to need to, this is what's right. Example, the Black Lives Matter protest. There have been several videos where, several instances of libertarians, classical libertarians, and true libertarians, and current day libertarians like myself, who have been maligned, insulted, harassed, fired and from their jobs, and physically attacked because they do not wish to literally bend the knee to the BLM protesters. No, better yet, not protesters. What's the proper word? Demonstrators. Because I'm not going to lump in I'm going to lump in the rioters and the protesters together, because I blame both of you. Because the rioters are looking at everyone. The truly good faith actors are letting themselves be manipulated through their story, because they have been told the world is racist. They have been taught this and thus have become racist themselves. And they enforce that racism onto others and the world around them. Seen it also from the other side, actually. I'm related to a Grand Wizard in the KKK. Hi, cousin. Screw you. Still will break your jaw. But, and it's the exact same arguments. I'm not joking. Except that's usually we need to save civilization from BLM says white, KKK says, I ain't gonna say it. Come on, you think I'm gonna be stupid enough to put on a freaking recording? They'll take it out of, people are gonna take this out of context as it is. But yeah, these laws are not only dangerous, but for some reason I have a compulsion to put these out there now. I've been playing with them since 2016, actually, when Donald Trump got elected. Well, they were in my head beforehand, but I never really had names for the 3 different ideas that seem to govern the world around me. It's really distressing how often these rules have worked. Use them wisely, with compassion, with good conscience, and always look deeply in the hypocrite's mirror. Because when you do, and you stare into the darkness, if you've done it right, the darkness will blink. Aloha, vaya con Dios, and viva Cristo, always.